and welcome back to our show. Tonight we're going to be talking about the darkness of addiction, the bright shining light of recovery, and how that led to a social enterprise right here in Oregon City. I'm really happy tonight to be joined by Chelsae Thompson from MC Outreach. So let's get to work and start the conversation. Good evening, Chelsae.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Tell me, what is MC Thrift Store and Outreach?
MC Thrift Store and Outreach is a thrift store nonprofit in Oregon City. We've been in Oregon City for 7 years now, and all of our proceeds help people into recovery programs.
How does that work? I mean, the proceeds help people in recovery programs. Describe that. What happens?
So we are set up as a boutique thrift store just right off the street of Malala Avenue in Oregon City. And a lot of our customers know someone, or the customer has been affected personally with addiction. So they may come into our store, they may be struggling with addiction, and really it's anything life-altering. So it doesn't have to be a substance abuse. It could be codependency, it could be eating disorders, it could be depression, like anything that's holding you in bondage. And so when we come in contact with them, and they realize that we have tools and we have resources that can help them through their hard time, we connect them with other nonprofits and that are out of state, because the success rate is higher, sending them out of state into recovery programs. And so we come beside them as a family and we get them to where they need to be. Okay.
So what are you providing that all these other social service agencies and Alcoholics Anonymous aren't doing? What role are you filling that?
Yeah, you know, I don't really like to say like they're not doing, like we're doing something that they're not doing, but really like we are collectively doing things together. So everyone has their own path in recovery, and what we do is we believe in a 12-month program that's faith-based, and really what that provides is people to really receive deep healing into their recovery. So ultimately, when someone's struggling with addiction, like I like to tell people, it's like you're walking outside, you fall down, you broke your leg, and you personally cannot heal yourself. And so you need a doctor, you need a cast wrapped on. And so what these programs provide is that doctor to come beside. They're able to seek the Lord at that time. They're able to really seek their inner soul and like really reach out for something greater than themselves to receive deeper healing. And so we provide connecting them with those nonprofits. We provide ourselves as a family beside them. But I wouldn't say we're any better or we provide something that others don't. We are just like one piece in the puzzle, and everyone has their own path. So we really like to respect everyone has a way that they want to go.
So you talked about that process of healing.
Yes.
You've been through that as well.
I have.
Tell us about your story.
Yeah, so I've been clean a little over 5.5 years. When I needed help, my parents were currently running our thrift store. I had actually gone through a relapse when we opened our store. And I think that was a really powerful time, because during that time, you know, I had relapsed because I had put my identity into our store. I had put my identity into what my life was going to be made of, and things were going, you know, people would look up to me and I would be giving back. But truthfully, you have to receive your recovery and genuine healing because it's something you want inside. And so when I started on my journey, when I hit rock bottom and I relapsed, I really, I would say that relapse really helped me. It brought me to a place of wanting my recovery for myself. And so when I reached out to my parents for help, they connected me with a nonprofit that was down in LA. It was called the Dream Center. And I was able to get on my journey then. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, it sure does. So let's step back even further.
Yeah.
How did you progress? How did you get started in addiction?
I got started in addiction like a lot of people do. You know, a lack of identity in ourselves. You, especially in the world, everyone's telling you what you should look like, how you should talk, what you should wear, what you should weigh. At the time, you know, I didn't have a father figure in my life, and he was absent, and so I had a lot of just deep rejection issues, and I went through my own traumas in relationships. And so with that, as a young girl at that time, you know, it hits other people differently than others, and it hit me pretty dramatic. And so I sought my acceptance and my identity, unfortunately, in my body image. So I went through some eating disorders, which then turned into drug addiction, and then some codependency stuff with relationships, and it's just like it's a fast downward spiral. Yeah, that's how I got started.
You got like the whole menu there, didn't you? The
Yeah, I've hit it all.
Yes,
I've hit it all.
Okay,
But what's super cool is like, even though you can go through so much, the root cause is the same thing. So you go through different seasons in your life to numb the same pain, and it's just ultimately not what you're doing to numb the pain. It's, are you to the point that you want to get rid of the hurt, you know, in that deep wound? And that's what these 12-month recovery programs provide. It's for 12 months somebody can take their time and really seek within themselves, what am I doing? These are the behaviors I've done, but like, what is it that's really brought me to this place? And that's why I believe in the programs we send people to. And ultimately, like, I would lay on my bed in my recovery program and just be like, God, you know, we can talk about drugs all day long. We can talk about how, you know, beautiful we are and how we're perfect, just like how God's made us. But ultimately, I need you to heal me. Like, I need you to come down, heal me, renew me, transform me, and I need it to be authentic. Like, I can't have it be cliche. And so that's my recovery. It's something that's really hit home with me. I believe in it. So
5.5 years and clean.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell me about your life now. What are you doing in your life besides the store?
Yeah, you know, I love serving in our store. It's a place, it's a time for me to just give back to our community. Really, ultimately, I'm starting my own business. It's going to be, it's called Pardon Lifestyle, and it's a yoga and health and awareness. And ultimately, pardon came about because pardon in meaning, it means just get rid of. Let's just like wash it away, get rid of, like forgive. And it's a time for you to get on your yoga mat and just like move through your movement, move through your breath work, and just let everything go. And every time I get off my yoga mat, because I've now been certified as a yoga instructor, I just feel good, you know? And ultimately, yoga goes cross paths with drug addiction, with renewing the mind and reframing the mind. Because with your breath work and with your movement, it like literally, I feel like yoga is almost like a cognitive therapist, just like with yourself though. So it just reframes your mind, and that's ultimately what I want to give back now to our community. So we have our store, we have a place for people to come to get help, and now through that, how can I serve just like the daily person that could be going through depression or anxiety or just like stress? Well, they can come to class and they can just lay it all down and hopefully feel better.
So the pardon, you're calling it pardon, so I imagine that you're setting out to address some of the shame and guilt that people carry around because of their life, how they've lived.
You know, I don't really like to like address anything like, you know, come if you're feeling shameful or guilty or this and that, but just like come as you are. Like none of us need to know why you're coming. Like your life could be absolutely awesome, and your awesome day, you just want to lay it down on the ground and just have that moment of bliss and just have a relaxing moment, you know, like you're taking a really good nap. Like it could be like a great day, but you just want to like let it all go.
A really good nap sounds fine right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how Pardon came around, and 25% of the proceeds that will be made through Pardon will be donated back into MSAID. So the whole reason why Pardon is coming around.
Another social enterprise then.
Yeah, so it's going to, you know, continue to sow back into the community, because that's ultimately why I started it in the first place.
You have a whole family of entrepreneurs.
We do.
So tell me about the origins of MSAID,
and
the thrift store, and your mother's story.
Yeah, so my parents started it, like I said, 7 years ago, and I've only been clean 5.5 years. So they started it when I was actually court ordered into a program, and at that time, it was super cool. I would sit on our bathroom floor in our recovery program like for an entire week, and I would be praying. I'd be like, God, why am I here? I know why I'm here. I'm court ordered here. I hate my life. So just use me. You know, you get really dramatic when you're young, and you're like, God, use me. There's got to be a reason for my life. And so I was always seeking God, like, it sounds bad, but like when you're growing up in youth group, like God has a purpose for you. So you're always like, me, God, me, but you're never really like cool with yourself. Like you're always looking at the world and not looking internally. So during that time, God humbly gave me the name for our store, and it's called M-Seed, which stands for the mustard seed in the Bible. And it's just, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. So what's cool is during that time, we got one phone call a week. And my mom was like, you know, Chelsea, I think we're going to open up a thrift store. And I was like, wow, that's really weird because I think I have the name for it. So it gave both of us confirmation that God had us both where we were supposed to be. Unfortunately, it goes back to me relapsing. So I had put my identity into it rather than taking that year to really receive healing, which I believe, though, God like planted that seed, just like M-Seed stands for. He gives us hope. He meets us where we're at. And what he did is when I did hit rock bottom and I went through my addiction again, I had that hope. You know, I had that like, I know that I have a plan and a purpose for my life, but ultimately if I lose everything, I just need healing now. So my parents started the store 7 years ago. They completely stepped out in faith. They're amazing. My parents, they're very, very successful. My mom was in real estate. She had no idea about how to run a thrift store, how to run a nonprofit, but she believed this is what God wanted her to do. So that's why I call her my angel, because she's the most like selfless person. And ultimately, she's done it all volunteer for the past 7 years.
Started out with like just a little bit of faith, like a mustard seed, and so it's
and not very many people would work for free for 7 years. So I think she's an angel.
Good. So if somebody wanted to find out more about mustard seed or M-Seed, or if they need some help, how do they reach you?
People can come directly into our store. We're at 124A Malala Avenue in Oregon City, as well as reach out to us on our website, which is mseedoutreach.com, as well as give us a phone call. So, and we can start the application process and get them into the correct program that is going to best suit them and make that connection.
Well, thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck to
wonderful.
you, and please send along our wishes to your family for continued success. And we love having these kind of social enterprises here in Oregon City that are doing business and doing well for the community. So thanks to Chelsae Thompson and folks at M-Seed, and thank you for joining us once again. Have a good evening.
Hi there, my name is John Rodke. I'm your Program Quality Director for District 7. Today I want to talk to you about the opportunities you have to improve yourself as a leader and a communicator within our district. Most members, they stay at the club level. They see these awesome people and they interact with them on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and they get the opportunity to grow and learn from these other amazing members. But there's a lot more out there. There's a whole other world for you to explore when it comes to going to more events, going to district level events. You have the area, the division, and the district that you can all experience if you go and test it out. The idea behind these events is for you to gain value through them. We have the contest season that a lot of people hear about and some participate in. It is one of these amazing opportunities where you get the chance to grow by pushing your comfort zone, pushing that bubble a little bit, and expanding out. With these contests, you start at the club level, and you move to the area level, division level, and then district level. At the area level, you get the chance to interact with between 4 and 7 other Toastmaster clubs as their different competition elements, their competitors, their champions. They go forth and they compete with each other in a positive and constructive manner. If you get the chance to be a participant in it as being a competitor, awesome. If you're not a competitor, that's awesome too. Go in and you can be part of the support staff or just come for the show, and you get the chance to network and involve yourself on the next level of Toastmasters. Beyond that, you have the division level. This is a much broader scope. You usually have between 4 and 7 areas, all together. So you have a lot of people that have funneled up to this zone. You have some of the best speakers in Oregon all competing in 9 different division contests. You also have a larger group of people that you're able to network with, that you're able to meet with, and you're able to enjoy the awesome opportunity to share your stories and share wisdom with each other. Division contests are awesome. Highly encourage you to go to them. The next level up is the district conference. The idea with the district conference is we have the 9 champions from each contest, from each division, come and they compete together, head to head, going at it. And you have some of the best speakers in Oregon, all sharing their story, sharing their soul, and sharing it with you. This wisdom that you gain from these amazing speakers is one small element of a district conference. The idea behind those is we bring Toastmasters from across the district together. We bring in a nationally or internationally known keynote speaker to teach you actionable methods to become better at leading and communicating within your own environment, within your own lives, at home, at work, and in Toastmasters. The idea is to provide as much value as possible to you, the member. Starting this next year, we have 1 conference a year. We're going to be having a Friday night event where it's a small keynote mixed with a nice little dinner where it's a little bit of a smaller section, but you get hands-on, impactful, and usable information from this amazing keynote. Saturday itself is the competition between the speakers for the international speech contest, evaluation contest, and we're working on what else you're going to be able to compete in. You also have the keynote speaker delivering their main keynote there, where you get a huge amount of impactful and useful knowledge so that you can become better, as we said before, in all elements of your life. Saturday night, we're going to have a banquet where you get to come and see and celebrate the leaders within our district and also learn even more from our keynote, doing 3 different presentations, 3 separate elements so that you can improve in your life. So that's conference. The other elements you have are Toastmaster Leadership Institute. You get the chance at these events to learn how to become better leaders, to learn how to become the best at the 7 officer positions, and also there's other breakout sessions that allow you to grow as an individual. These are so valuable. If you can go to the TLIs that are district level, we host them at the beginning of June and the beginning of December so that you can get to them, enjoy networking with tons of other Toastmasters and growing as a Toastmaster yourself. You also have division level TLIs afterwards. They're kind of makeup trainings. Ideally, go to the big event. But if you go to these other smaller ones, we're delivering impactful, useful information so that you can become better in your club and in your normal everyday environment. These trainings are for you to become a better leader and a better communicator. Both of them combined allow you to become the maximum Toastmaster you can. The goal in Toastmasters here is for you to transcend yourself, for you to come from whatever level you're at coming in to elevate yourself, elevate you to become a better speaker and leader. Come, enjoy more than just the club. Welcome to Toastmasters and welcome to district events.
Hi, I'm James Wantz. I'm the current Public Relations Manager for District 7, but I'm also a member of 3 Toastmasters clubs. I've been involved in the district since about 2008, so I'm pretty familiar with the legacy educational system that we have. So when Pathways rolled out, I decided I wanted to dive in, because Pathways, well, it's brand new. It's something I hadn't encountered before. Now, many of us who have been in Toastmasters for a while, we know about the 2 tracks, the communications track and the leadership track, the Competent Communicator Manual, the Competent Leadership Manual, and they both lead forward and meet in the Distinguished Toastmasters. But with Pathways, there were 10 different individual paths that I could choose from. That's 5 times as many as the 2 tracks that I had previously. I'd heard a little bit about some of the projects that were inside of these tracks, and I immediately got excited. When the ambassador at our spring conference started talking about all of these potential projects that we could do, electives like creating a podcast, or writing a compelling blog, or attending a networking event. Oh, okay, I didn't really like that one. I hate networking. Ugh. But the fact that I could do these projects, which hadn't been a part of Toastmasters, at least in my experience up to that point, kind of got me fired up for the new program. So when Pathways came out, I dove in. Now, I have a history of, well, theater. You may not be able to tell. I enjoy presentations, so I decided my first path was going to be presentation mastery, because I was going to dive into something new with something familiar. And so I went into Pathways for the very first time, looked at the project, started working through presentation mastery, and found a bunch of really cool nuggets, these golden nuggets embedded in the projects as I'm going. As I said, I've been a member since 2008, but I had yet to encounter within Toastmasters the idea that you could do a speech and then do the speech over again. I mean, I'd encountered it, yeah, other people had mentioned it, but now within Pathways, that's one of the first projects you do. You do a speech, you get evaluation on that speech, you then incorporate the evaluation into the speech, and you give the same speech again. I mean, it's mind-blowing, because up until this point, at least a year for me in Toastmasters, I thought that once I gave a speech, it was gone. I couldn't do that speech again. Now, this comes from my theater background, because you do a performance and it's over. So I thought it was the same. You do a speech and it's over. But that's not really what happens. I mean, within our own professional lives and presentations and our work days, oftentimes I've encountered people that give presentations over and over and over and over. So now that has become an integral part of Pathways. And that's just one of those nuggets that I found. As I'm working through presentation mastery, I started to get the sneaking suspicion that I was cheating myself. I was cheating myself because I wasn't really challenging myself in all the areas that I could challenge myself. Yeah, networking. I hate it. But you know, there is a specific path that deals with networking, strategic relationships. I decided that if I was going to be a Pathways evangelist and talk about how good it was for helping people conquer communication and leadership in their own life, I needed to do something that was uncomfortable for me. So I signed up for the strategic relationships. And yes, I am going to attend networking events. I am going to find out about those strange things they call networking events. And then, as per the project in Pathways, I'm going to go back to my home club and report how scared I was at the time. Because stepping up in front of people to give a presentation doesn't bother me. I enjoy it. I know I'm weird in that way. But if you put me in a room where I have to network with people, it's just amazing. I challenge you. Figure out what you want to work on in your life, and then go to Toastmasters.org, look into Pathways, start figuring out one of those 10 individual paths that would challenge you. Or if you want, start with something familiar. But the key part of this whole thing is start into the Pathways journey, because you don't know what you're going to find, and I think you're going to really like it in the process. Toastmasters.org.